Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker. It's a pleasure to be back in the Chamber to speak on this second reading of the Immigration Bill, which will end EU freedom of movement and pave a way for a new points-based immigration system that treats everyone equally. Mr Deputy Speaker, let me say from the outset that this bill has my full support. Taking back control of our borders was one of the central reasons, if not the main reason, why millions of people up and down this country voted to leave the European Union almost 4 years ago. And this bill brings us one step closer to finally delivering upon this historic verdict. Mr Deputy Speaker, I also want to say at the beginning that this desire to take back control of our borders is not to deny the immense contribution of the many people who have come here from overseas and will continue to do so in the future. And in fact, ending freedom of movement and building that points-based immigration system based on equality and individual merit will allow us to welcome more people from around the world who have so much to offer this country. On the contrary, taking back control is about ending the uncontrolled mass immigration which has disproportionately affected our working class communities over recent decades. These are communities who have seen the increased pressure on their schools and hospitals, and their wages remain low, and rapid cultural changes in the towns in which they live. Though undoubtedly clear that the vast majority of those who have moved to our country under EU freedom of movement rules have made a positive contribution and have integrated fully, the simple truth is that this has not been the case for everyone who has taken advantage of the EU freedom of movement rules, and many of our communities have been adversely affected because of this. This bill today gives us a power to continue to welcome into our country all those who wish to make a positive contribution to not just our economy, but our society also, whilst being able to say no to those whose impact is likely to be more dubious. This is the reality of the bill before us today, and it's a reality to be welcomed. For too long, these issues were known, but locked inside the EU treaties. There is no way to address them through our traditional democratic process. Immigration was an issue snatched out of people's democratic control, undermining their confidence in our political system, as well as in our ability to execute our fundamental responsibility as a nation to decide who enters our country. We now have seen an unmissable opportunity to restore the public's confidence by building an immigration system which welcomes the best and the brightest from around the world whilst retaining democratic control and the consent of the people. Despite the clear support in the country for such reforms, the Labour Party of today remains ready to open borders and uncontrolled mass immigration. During his leadership campaign, my right honourable friend, the member for Holborn and St Pancras, set out his full support for bringing back freedom of movement in the future, clearly disappointed that his attempts to reverse the decision of the 2016 second referendum weren't successful. If given the chance, it would appear that he would do everything within his power to dilute and frustrate the decision instead. Or in other words, why set yourself against many of your party's traditional supporters once when you can do it twice? Mr Deputy Speaker, by voting against this bill tonight, the Labour Party takes yet another step in its long march away from the people it once faithfully represented. When we're debating the future of our immigration system, we do need to touch upon illegal immigration, though I appreciate that this will be dealt with in a separate bill. Public confidence in the system today, tackling illegal immigration, must be one of the key issues we confront. Whilst there continue to be thousands of people who break our laws by operating outside of our legal immigration system, the public won't have full faith that we have control of our borders. I urge the government to build on the important work in this bill by giving further consideration to how we tackle illegal immigration over the coming weeks and months. Mr Deputy Speaker, as I said at the start of my speech, this bill has my full support because it ends freedom of movement, gets us ready for a new global immigration system and helps restore public confidence in the integrity of our borders. There is still more work to be done, and we can't count on the Labour Party to support us in doing that. But the era of uncontrolled and undemocratic mass immigration is certainly coming to an end, and that should be welcomed.